All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back once again to AI is the New BI. This is our demo series produced by the Bloor Group in conjunction with Eckerson Group, focused on artificial intelligence. It's a very hot topic these days. Lots of vendors are using AI under the covers to do cool stuff, and that's what we're going to try to show you today. I'm very pleased to have Gil Alouche of Metadata.io, and he's going to show us a really interesting application that they've built, a cool platform. Gil, show us what you got.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to present. Thank you for the opportunity. So Metadata is a 2.5 years old marketing technology company, and we built a solution for the ground up to be embedded with artificial intelligence and deep learning with sole purpose of generating a predictable, qualified inbound lead flow from your target accounts. So essentially, the whole process of the demand generation manager in a B2B company, that essentially at the end of that process, they need to hand off a quota of leads that are fully qualified to their sales counterparts is automated here. And we use a fairly complex but streamlined process in order to achieve it, and it's completely automated. And so at the end of the day, the outcome from Metadata is exactly what you see in front of your screen, and that is a pipeline. We don't optimize for impressions, we don't optimize for clicks or email opens or anything like that. Those are the KPIs of the past, but rather we optimize for pipeline. And so there are 3 things our machine learning model can optimize towards, and we'll go through those KPIs in a moment. I'll just start by going through our blueprint. This is our scientific approach to demand generation, and we have 2 patents awarded for it, and the 3rd one is on the way. And essentially our process is as follows. It has 3 components in it. The first one is the insight component. The AI operator of Metadata is trying to understand, imagine having a virtual employee. You just hired that employee, the demand generation manager, and the first day in the office, the first thing they do is they look into your CRM and marketing automation data to try to understand what worked in the past. The first thing you try to understand is what type of companies you have successfully sold to. So it will ingest all your data from your Salesforce, it will enrich it, and it will build a profile of your ideal customer profile. Now it will profile multiple ideal customers because depending on the data set that it gets. So let's just start from the beginning. When you log into Metadata, you have to connect your stack. We're not here to reinvent the wheel. You already have Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads. In this particular account, we have connected those 4 systems. And once you connect your marketing automation, your CRM, and your advertising accounts, the first thing you can do is actually create a profile based on your Salesforce data. And you can decide exactly how you're going to map and how exactly you're going to slice and dice your Salesforce data in order to generate that initial ideal customer profile. For example, you can say that you want to take into consideration the probability of the opportunity or the amount. Ideally, you leave these fields as default, and what Metadata will do is it will go through all of the lifetime data that you have in your Salesforce. It will automatically enrich each and every one of the fields that you have. So even if you don't have the company name or the company industry or the technology that company is using or the job title of the personas that you sold to, so on and so forth, Metadata will bring those attributes into the analysis by relying on third-party data vendors. So we're connected to many of the major B2B data sources you may be aware of, like HG Data for back-end technology install base, like Data9 for front-end technology install base, ZoomInfo, InsideView, many of the data sources that you may be familiar with and sometimes purchase data manually from. So we're bringing them into the table only for the purpose of modeling your ideal customer profile. And so the customization is here. Usually the process goes where it ingests all of your opportunities from Salesforce and all the objects associated with it. So for example, the contacts and the accounts, it will enrich them, and essentially we'll start running a machine learning classifier. And I can just save this for now. What will happen is the first task is Metadata will enrich that data, which will bring all the third-party signals into it, and then it will actually create a data integrity summary to tell you how your data looks like. And if you're comfortable with that, you can go ahead and create your profile. And this particular demo, this is a demographic profile, demographic and firmographic profile that shows you who did you successfully sell to, your top 10 percentile deals. So it looked into your Salesforce data. It looked into the biggest deals that you closed in the shorter time, the shortened span of time, because, $1 million opportunity that is closed won within 3 months is ranked significantly higher than a $100,000 opportunity that was closed lost after a year. But nevertheless, it will account all of them into the analysis and eventually give you your profile. And then from this profile, you can create an audience. You can say, okay, now I want lookalikes of my top 10 percentile deals. And it will essentially go and grab net new accounts that are not yet in your Salesforce that match that profile. Or you can decide that you want to create your own audiences. You want to create audiences based on technologies. You want to, maybe you want to get a list of companies using competing technologies, or get a list of companies using complementary technologies to yours. Or maybe you want to do a Venn diagram and a subset of companies who are within your ideal customer profile, but also are currently using a competing technology, and finally are in the market in the last 6 months for a solution of your kind. So you can kind of combine firmographic and demographic data, technology install-based data, and buyer intent data. And so you get a very small subset of companies and people within those companies that are relevant for you to speak with, and you create an audience based on that. In here, I'm basically, refining the search to financial services, to banks in the U.S. I'm looking for the marketing people, and maybe I'll also add that I need to make 50 million or above. And here I narrow down the list, and I can call it 50 million banks and save it. What will happen is now Metadata generates this new audience. Now the reason we're generating all those audiences is for Metadata, just as a reminder, the whole process is a means to an end to generate a predictable, qualified inbound lead flow. So essentially imagine that you could actually predict how many inbound leads you will get every month. And so that's what the machine does. So once you just define your ICP, your ideal customer profile, it generates lookalikes like we've seen in the previous step. And then in addition to the lookalikes of your ideal customer profile, we can add as many possible audiences. The goal here is to define your total addressable market within metadata. Unlike a B2C company, a B2B company can actually fairly easily define its total addressable market, actually see all the companies and all the people it's going to go after. And that is the purpose here. Because once you have that, once we define all of those audiences, the system automatically uploads those audiences to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to programmatic, to retargeting channels, so on and so forth, for the purpose of engaging with those particular people within particular companies and get them to come to you as an inbound lead. And this is the way it works. We go and say, I want to create a new campaign. In this particular example, I already created a demo campaign. And you can see that I can drag and drop the audiences that I've created after they were uploaded to the different channels. In this particular account that I mentioned before, I enabled Facebook, LinkedIn, and programmatic. And so you have those 5 audiences that are already waiting for us to be targeted. I can simply drag and drop one of those audiences, like business intelligence, which I guess is very relevant to this particular show. And then I drag and drop it, or something happens. Let's try this again. Classic. All right. So usually what will happen is I drag and drop an audience to my channel of choice. It could be a LinkedIn, if I filter to LinkedIn, or Facebook, or programmatic. And from that moment on, what the system will do is it will add that particular audience to my channel. So essentially, it will add a new variable. It looks like we already uploaded all of those audiences in this particular example. Let me start again. Let's create a new campaign for this particular scenario. Oh. Okay. Now you can see that in this particular campaign, I can enable LinkedIn and programmatic. This probably showed why the error happened last time. Facebook is not yet enabled here. So let's just open it up just to make sure that we're accurate here. Facebook indeed is not connected, and that's the reason I cannot drag and drop audience there. So I can hit the OK button, the connect button. And
yeah, and all those connections are built in, right? Meaning you just click connect and then it goes to your Facebook page and allows you to authorize, and that's how it connects?
Exactly right. So in this particular situation, I tried an existing campaign that I created formerly, but back then I connected my Facebook. Then I was trying to add an audience to that Facebook channel, but it wasn't connected anymore, so it wasn't allowing me to. But now that I connected Facebook, I can probably return to that campaign I was trying to play with before and see if I can drag and drop my audiences now. I can't guarantee it will work, but I think it will. Let's see, if I drag and drop business intelligence, no, it's still confused. But essentially, if I create a new campaign now, if I go here and I say, delete this campaign, I create a new campaign, let's say ABCDE 1, 2, 3. Now I have all three accounts enabled. So now I can run campaigns on all those three channels. And if I connected next Twitter and if I connected other channels afterwards, I'll be able to run on those as well. We're currently running on Facebook, Pinterest, Quora ads, LinkedIn, Twitter, and then programmatic, and then that includes the retargeting. So the idea is that once we have all those audiences that we're connected to, like you said, in one-click kind of connection, now we can start saying, okay, I want to target my decision makers, and I want to target the business intelligence people and my target technologies on LinkedIn. And on Facebook, I want to target just BI and decision and maybe decision influencers. And maybe on programmatic, I want, because maybe I think that on programmatic I'm going to find most of my decision makers, I'm going to target, my 50 million. Take a look. We already have the 50 million and above revenue banks that created really recently, so I can add that to the channel, and I can also drag and drop my decision maker. So what is happening here, just to clarify, essentially you can see all the different audiences that we're going to run, and the way metadata works, it's using multivariate experimentation to go after the target persona within the target accounts. Essentially, it tries every collateral and every white paper, every ebook, every asset that you have, every creative for those assets, every audience, every slice and dice of your audience. We're still talking about the same target accounts that you have, but you slice and dice them, one time by technology, one time by industry, and one time by technology, and one time by size of company, one time by job title. You can go and slice and dice your target audience in many ways you want, because the nature of experimentation essentially helps you identify the most effective ways, the most effective combination of asset, creative, channel, campaign type, and message in order to go after and engage with those personas to click and submit their information so that they become an inbound lead in your funnel.
Yeah, let me ask you real quick. So are you actually gleaning details from LinkedIn, for example, on the industries of people who get involved in these campaigns? In other words, are you able to pull from the LinkedIn API key dimensions about certain individuals, industry, size of company, and so forth?
So we don't scrape data from LinkedIn per se. We buy data from third-party data vendors that have all kinds of attributes that we can slice and dice people by. So AG Data can tell us if a company is using Apache Hadoop or they're using Cloudera. They can give you kind of back-end technology insight that you wouldn't otherwise have. You can't scrape it off a website. DataNive gives you front-end technology install base, so they can tell you whether you're using Marketo or using HubSpot. Then we have ZoomInfo and InsideView and LeadFerret, many of the other companies that can tell you what kind of professional group they belong to, what skills do they have, what's their education, their job title, their seniority. And we have a machine learning classifier that knows how to translate from data source 1 to data source number 2, because an industry on LinkedIn is different than an industry on ZoomInfo, which is different than an industry on AG Data, but our machine learning classifier within our Elasticsearch knows how to translate between those taxonomies. Okay, so going back to my campaigns, once you have your campaign set up and you started putting all the different audiences in the different channels, essentially every time that you're adding a new variable, you are multiplying the number of experiments. Meaning, if you have, in this particular example, on Facebook, I have those 4 assets. On LinkedIn, I have those 4 assets. Maybe I remove one of them. But if I have now 9 audiences and I have 11 assets, at this point I already have 63 different experiments. Like, let's try this ABM cookbook on Facebook. Let's try ABM cookbook with this audience on Facebook. Let's try ABM cookbook on the decision makers, on the technologies, on the influencers. So every time you add a variable, you essentially give the AI operator, your virtual employee, another set of variables to experiment by. Same thing with campaign type. You may say, I want to bring them to a landing page. Like in here, you can, by the way, set up a new landing page. You can go and say, hey, I have a new offer, a new asset I want to promote within metadata. You can take that particular landing page. You can call it landing page 1, 2, 3, 4. You can copy and paste the URLs. And what metadata will do, it will open up that page and scrape the details of that form and map it directly to your marketing automation. So now I can go and say, my HubSpot is now connected to my landing page. Here is the way I want to, to essentially pull the data and map it to my marketing automation. And next, it will ask me to put some codes into my page. So it's basically asking me to copy that code, put it in the bottom of my page, so that that landing page now becomes one of the landing pages that I can use for experimentation. So if you have 12 different landing pages that contain 12 different ebooks, you just do it one time, and then that landing page becomes one of the assets in your inventory that you can use for experimentation. Same thing, same way that you're bringing people from Facebook ad to a landing page, you can also say, I want to convert them on the spot using a lead gen form. So you can set up a new form. This automatically maps to your marketing automation, and then people will be converted right on the spot on Facebook or LinkedIn. Same thing for an ad builder. These are all the different variables that are usually a part of an ad campaign. So you don't have to ever log in and log out from any advertising tool and create those things manually. You just create that ad one time. You can clone it. You can call it, clone B, and then, change the text or do whatever you feel like doing in this particular instance. And then you just click save, and it automatically creates a new ad that you can use here for the purpose of experimentation. And again, every time you add an ad, every time you add an asset, it multiplies the number of, you have 5 white paper, 2 creative, 10 experiments. If you run it on 3 channels, 30 experiments. You have 2 campaign types, 60 experiments. And so at the end, it shows you how many experiments you currently have in the system on each and every one of those channels. And then you can decide if you want to change the way it divided the budget. There is a minimum budget of $25 on some of the channels per day, so that there are no diminishing returns. So if your budget is only $10,000, you can decide to eliminate some of those experiments and say, no, this experiment is unlikely to succeed. Like, you have to remember, it's very likely that the system will not actually be able to spend all of that money. It won't actually be able to spend $200,000 on Facebook, because most of these campaigns will never pace. It will not actually find all of your persona within all of your companies directly to click on all of your ads and convert as leads. It's unlikely to happen. That's why, the limit here is kind of the maximum limit. What's likely to happen, and usually the 20-80 rule applies, 20% of your experiments are going to yield very, very good results, because it's, the purpose of experimentation essentially gets you that level of scale. It will very quickly find out any bottleneck that you have. Let's say one of your landing pages is stuck or is not converting any leads. You'll find out about it very quickly, because by the nature of experimenting, you use the same landing page in 20 different experiments. It's not a coincidence that the landing page is not driving any conversions, and so you're going to go and fix that landing page. So it very quickly bottles up any issue that you have, any bottlenecks. And then the second thing that you get is optimization on your lead to opportunity conversion, because now you're only advertising against the cookies and the emails of the right people within the right company. So it clears out any unqualified prospects, and then it gets them to come to you as an inbound lead, so there's some kind of intent. They came to you, they're interested, you're top of mind for them.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Could you reiterate that again and just explain what you were talking about? Because that's extremely valuable. Basically, you're able to separate the wheat from the chaff, essentially, by using these algorithms underneath the covers such that you optimize the accuracy of quality leads to the vendor, right, or to the subscriber?
That's exactly right. So the marketing manager benefits from three things. One, they know what worked in the past by doing the profiling and analysis, and because here, now they have their ideal customer profile. At least based on the past sales, they know what kind of companies and what kind of people they successfully sold to in the past. And then, together with their own input, they generate all of their total addressable market. Like right here, you can see the total addressable market for this user. You can see all the audiences that together make their TAM. And then the only thing left, because they already have their total audiences there, they can actually preview them and take a look exactly what companies, exactly what people are going to be previewed here. Like in the banks, I can go in and preview the data. Now I have an admin, so I can actually see the full name and the email. A regular user will not be able to see the PII, but nevertheless, you can actually, go through and see those people and those companies before you run any ads against them. So the only really thing you have left now is just to engage and get those people to come to you as an inbound lead, and that's what the experimentation is for. It essentially uploads your audiences, all of those audiences, to the different advertising channels. It gets their cookies, their mobile device IDs, their IP addresses, their social handles, any piece of key that we can use to start running ads particularly against them. And every ad, let's say we start running those ads, we launch this campaign, you'll start seeing ads coming through. And then every ad comes through, every lead that comes through, you can see those in the converted leads. Those are new, so they haven't gotten enrichment yet. Those have already been enriched. You can see as they come through, there are a few things that are being assessed. So the lead, even if the lead comes through with a Gmail address, let's say we converted someone on their Facebook, so they converted with their Gmail address because they didn't actually fill out the form; it was automatically fulfilled for them on Facebook. They click download asset, what have you. We automatically enrich, the system automatically enriches the lead, so it tells you what actually company is this lead behind. Even if they sign up with a Gmail, we can see the CTO of Bank of America, and we'll give you their Bank of America email, because many times the lead scoring mechanism in the marketing automation systems, they don't score well personal emails. So we give you the corporate email just so that the system identifies, oh, this is a very important lead. And then it does a few checkups. It does the first checkup, is this enriched lead, what's the fuzzy match to the ideal customer profile that we've initiated in the previous step? Is this a good fit to the ideal customer profile for this customer? Then it learns what account did it come from. Is Bank of America one of the named accounts for this particular customer? Third, what's the score, the lead score in Marketo, let's say, that this lead got? Is it behaving well? And then the fourth one is, because we're connected to your CRM, we can see what type of impact is it making on your sales force. Is it creating a new opportunity, or is it impacting an existing opportunity? And based on that, the system ranks the experiment. You said either this is a good experiment, it is yielding impressions, clicks, and conversion at a good price. Is it also yielding leads that are getting high scores? They come from your named account, and they make a dent in your pipeline. If they do, then this experiment gets a high score. More budget is being thrown into that experiment. And then finally, new derivatives of this experiment are being created. So the system keeps getting optimized further and further. And that's kind of the idea of the whole AI operator. Imagine you have a small team of marketing operations people who can quickly move from 5 experiments to 20 experiments to 500 experiments and scale up and down as the seasonality of their business or as the pipeline needs. We have one customer who moved from 50 experiments to 2,500 experiments in a few months, and they moved from a budget of about $250,000, $300,000 a year to about $6 million a year. And they essentially moved all of their budget, all of their media budget under Metadata, because it optimizes based on B2B metrics like pipeline and penetration into named accounts versus B2C metrics like clicks and conversions.
Yeah, that's a great success story. So if you don't mind my asking, how do you typically charge for this? Is it a subscription base, or how does that work?
Yeah, there is a subscription base and there is a variable fee. So you usually have an onboarding fee, an annual price for the platform, with an unlimited usage, and then we have a variable that is based on the number of experiments or the budget. So if you're running a $100,000 budget per year, you're going to pay differently if you pay $6 million in ad spend per year. If you're doing 3,000 experiments or 100 experiments.
Yeah, right. So if you would just very quickly give us a recap on what the artificial intelligence does in the platform. There are a couple places in the life cycle where it comes into play. Just give us a recap on what the AI does and how that helps.
Yeah, so we have 3 models right now in the system. The first one is in our Elasticsearch. So we have the largest database of B2B signals. And the reason it's the largest one is because it aggregates and normalizes data between all the different data sources. And so the AG data, link, the inside view, the zoom info, all of those data sources have different taxonomy. So we have a classifier that knows how to translate from one another. So you can create Venn diagrams. You can say, I want companies who are currently using my competing product, currently are in the market for my kind of category, and are within my private industry target sizes. And I want to target those people particularly with a white paper that says why use me versus the competition. You can run those things because we can create those very, very precise audiences. The second place is the ideal customer profile. Here, when we're doing the profiling, we have essentially a predictive model that knows how to correlate between the attributes that we're bringing from third-party vendors, let's say the education, the age, the professional groups that person belongs to, and then we can correlate those attributes to closed-won opportunity and to amount. So you can say, I want to optimize my machine to largest deals. I don't care if they're closed loss or closed won. That's on my salespeople. If an opportunity that was created and it has a very high amount of the opportunity, optimize for more opportunities like that. And so our machine learning predictive model will essentially look what attributes is the industry that company is part of, is the technologies those company installed, is the location, is the job title of the person, how many people are involved, whatever the attribute is, it finds a correlation between those top attributes and highest amount of opportunities, and then to generate a profile based on that metric. And then you can translate that profile. Like if you remember here, I can go to the profile and say, I want to see my 2017 profile, and now I want to create an audience based on that profile. So it auto-fills your criteria based on the profile. And then the third place in which we have artificial intelligence is, of course, the AI operator. So the AI operator is a new use of AI, at least in marketing tech, and that is essentially using AI not only to give you insights, but rather to actually take action instead of you. So imagine having a group of 10 marketing ops that are constantly setting up campaigns and optimizing and checking and A/B testing everything. That's what the AI operator does in a much easier scalability. And then it does all the small mundane tasks that a human being would usually do. It logs in automatically on your behalf and sets up the campaign. It creates the A/B testing. It sets up the UTM tags, the lead source details, and all those things. It sets up an enrichment pixel. Whenever a lead comes through, it's automatically enriched. It sets up the webhook between the landing page and your marketing automation, so you don't have to export leads. It automatically sets up retargeting. If someone comes to your landing page but doesn't convert, he automatically or she automatically gets retargeted and brought back to that landing page for conversion. It already has a pixel for conversion to know if conversion happened. So all of these things are automatically done for you using the AI operator. And the most important thing here is that you can choose whether you want to have this completely on autopilot, meaning you literally don't make any decision and the AI operator just makes a decision, within the ranges of budget, etc. Or you want to approve. You want the AI operator to tell you, hey, I'm recommending to add budget here, or to eliminate those 30 campaigns, or to shift budgets, or create a new landing page because this landing page is problematic. So you can just follow their advice. And that's the third piece of AI that we have to date.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I have to say this is a very, very clever platform. And what you're doing is optimizing the process, not just of gathering leads, but of qualifying the leads and of helping the vendor understand which marketing campaigns work, which don't, and also figuring out how to build out the profile of the ideal prospect, because that's the real challenge these days, is knowing who might be interested, and then, of course, knowing who is interested, right?
Exactly right. And we know who is interested based on historical data, and we know when they're interested because they just click on an ad and ask to be contacted.
Wow. That's great stuff. Hey, this is absolutely fantastic. Any final comments, Gil?
No, we're mostly a good fit, at least today, to mid-market, to enterprise customers. We have a nice set of followers like companies that work with us, is Nutanix and MuleSoft and Intel. But we really are catering to any company that has a lot of assets that are usually sitting in some kind of a graveyard in a resources section of your website. This kind of technology helps you revive those assets and use them in a very effective, automated way to generate a predictable lead flow of inbound leads. And so that's kind of our goal.
I love it. Well, folks, we've been talking to Gil Alouche of Metadata.io. You can find them online at Metadata.io. This is fantastic technology, a great use of artificial intelligence. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, folks, this has been another demo in the AI is the New BI series. If you'd like your company or your client's company featured, just send me an email, info@insightanalysis.com. And with that, we'll bid you farewell. Talk to you next time, folks. Bye-bye.